Hi YouTube, my name is Sarachannah Holiday, and I'm coming on here to talk about a pretty, from what I'm hearing, pretty controversial subject called cryptic pregnancy. Um, I'm on here to let everyone know that that is what I'm going through. I figured that out months later after I had found out that I was pregnant, but I figured it out through research and uh, just on the internet trying to figure out what could possibly be going on with me since it's not uh, talked about. It's not. It's a kind of taboo or something, it seems. So my journey started in 2016. My husband and I were trying to get pregnant. I was ovulating. I had conceived. I took a positive pregnancy test. By the time, let's see, by the time I made my doctor's appointment, they probably got me in like a month later, 2 weeks, or some insane amount of time later. I had bled, and I actually thought I had miscarried because every time before, if I bleed, I miscarry. So I think I even was like crying and stuff. I'm not sure. But then a few days later, I remember thinking, "Oh my gosh, I still have like pregnancy symptoms. Like what could be going on? Like I don't believe I miscarried." So I still keep my doctor's appointments. I'm like, okay, we'll just go with this. It's just write it out or whatever. So I still keep my doctor's appointment. I go in, and of course, I get there and they take the blood test or whatever, and they come back, and I'm sure they're going to say I'm pregnant because I know for sure that I am. And they're like, no, well, no, they didn't give me the details right away. They said go home or whatever. And then, like, 3 weeks later, I think I hunted them down, and then they're like, yeah, your results came back negative. And I was shocked and in disbelief because of the way I felt and what I knew, to be true. And I'm like, no, I really, no. So, they said I miscarried. I didn't believe them. I didn't believe them at all. And so I'm thinking to myself, okay, so I let time pass. Time passes. I'm still feeling pregnant. I'm still growing. My belly is growing. And so I call a midwife. I'm like, okay, the doctor route's not something that I'm going to be wanting to do, right? Because they're not helping me at all. They're telling me I miscarried and it's over. And I'm obviously, it's not over. So I go to a midwife thinking, maybe she'll know a little bit more or something. Have some, like, maybe she'll check the heartbeat or something. So I get there, and she lays me down. She does a womb palpitation or whatever. And she's like, well, how far along do you think you are? And I'm like, I'm 12 weeks, like on the nose, because I got pregnant July 4th. And so she checks and everything. And she's like, yeah, you're right. You are 12 weeks. Let's get the Doppler out. And I'm like, oh, good. This is good. I'm going to get a confirmation. This is cool. So she gets out the Doppler and she searches and searches and searches. And I thought she was just like, didn't know what she was talking about. She's like, I don't hear the heartbeat like at all. And I was like, no, okay. I'm thinking she's full of it. So she checks and checks and checks. And by the end of the exam, she looked at me with like danger in her eyes. You need to have an emergency D&C. When you leave here today, you need to rush to the hospital because you have a dying fetus in you. And my jaw dropped to the floor. I'm like, whoa, this lady's whack. Like, what's going on here? I'm not. And so I get to the car and I'm going through these doubts because I have all these professionals. They're supposed to know everything about everything. I have them telling me that I'm not pregnant, and everything in me, in my body, is signaling, yes, you are. So I have this like confusion to the hilt going on inside of me. So I get to the car and I start bawling. And I just hear this, I just, in my mind, I come to a resolution. I'm like, I'm just going to wait it out. I'm not having an abortion. I'm not risking an abortion. I just go home. So from then on, I just let time go by. I let time go by. And then through that, I'm studying on the internet what could be going on. I come across cryptic pregnancy. I'm like, that's exactly what I'm going on. And then I had to grieve the fact that I'd be pregnant for 3 to 7 years. Now, that was something that I was not willing to accept the first year or two, I'm still thinking this babies are coming. Like, they're coming in 9 months. Then my first 9 months passed, and I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, but it does say that they can. I mean, I just could not come to grips with the extended cryptic pregnancy. But then, you have to. So as time went on, my marriage suffered, my life suffered. I got kicked out of I didn't really get kicked out of a congregation, but I had been acting, well, I not acting, I mean, I was pregnant, so people were doing the belly thing, and what do you do? And, they could tell they gave me presents. People were giving me presents because they thought that I was going to deliver in 9 months. And when I didn't, when that first year passed and that second year passed, and then my pastor was like, called me into his office, and he's like, you really can't be telling people you're pregnant anymore because they're giving you gifts. And it really hurt. I'm thinking, okay, do you believe in miracles? Like, Yeshua was born, because this is a pastor. So his faith, for me, it felt like it should have been different. But it's not when it comes to this pregnancy. I don't know what it is about this pregnancy that people cannot believe that people can be pregnant for years, and they can. They absolutely can. And as wild as it was, so we left that congregation, blah, blah, blah. To this day, he's like, and if you ever come back with a baby, it's going to be a 9-month pregnancy, and that is final. I'm like, okay, whatever. That's your problem, not mine. So, long story. I mean, it's just been such a long journey, but I'm just on here to now I'm comfortable with it. Now I realize it's a beautiful thing. Now I realize that I'm unique. Now I realize, and then I joined support groups, and I realize that I'm not the only one, and that is a huge weight off my shoulders when you feel like you belong. When you feel like you belong somewhere, God's got me, I mean, I'm like 1,000 times better, but I'm 3 years, July, August, September, 3 years, 4 months into my pregnancy. So I should be better. I should be more accepting, and and it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy, I know, but I'm gonna get back on here and maybe talk a little bit about how I possibly could have gotten here. I have hormonal imbalances to help women to understand that if they deal with endometriosis. I had 8 miscarriages prior to this. The doctor said I will never have kids, blah, blah, blah. I don't like to repeat what they say because they put the death report on everything. Oh, you got 6 months to live, or whatever. I don't listen to them. And so, go back a little bit of my medical history. So, that could really help women figure out, and if they're going through this, I could go back and I can talk about symptoms, or I've learned a lot about this pregnancy along the way. I had to study, I had to look it up. If people want to know more about cryptic pregnancy, look it up. That's a good way to find something out. So, I'll be back on here. I will be willing to ask questions if you just want to message me on Instagram on my under Cryptic Pregnancy Uncovered. Yeah, Cryptic Pregnancy Uncovered, and you should find me there. So, see you later.